The gala was abuzz with chatter and flashing lights. It was a night of glamour and significance, raising funds for children in need. Barron Trump stood tall and poised near the stage, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the excitement around him. As the evening progressed, Barron mingled with the crowd, exchanging polite smiles and handshakes. But then, the unexpected happened. A man in a wrinkled suit stepped forward, his face tense. When Barron extended his hand, the man refused to take it. The room fell silent. "I won't shake your hand," the man said, his voice shaking with a mix of anger and pain. "Your name represents privilege. You have no idea what people like me go through." Barron's guard stepped in, but Barron raised his hand to stop them. He looked the man in the eye and said softly, "You're right. I don't know your story, but I'd like to." The man was taken aback. The crowd held its breath as Barron motioned toward a quieter corner of the room. "Let's talk." The man hesitated, but eventually followed Barron. They sat at a small table away from the crowd, the tension palpable. "I'm Jacob," the man began, his voice still laced with defiance. "I'm a single dad. My son Ethan has a rare disease, and I can't afford his treatment. I came here tonight hoping to speak with someone who could help, but I didn't expect you to care." Barron listened intently, his expression softening with each word. "I do care," he said. "Tell me more about Ethan." Jacob's defenses began to crumble as he spoke about his son, how Ethan loved to draw, how he dreamed of becoming an artist, and how the medical bills had drained their savings. Barron leaned forward. "I can't imagine what you're going through, but I want to help. Not just with money, but in a way that really matters." Jacob stared at him, his eyes filled with disbelief. "Why would you do that for me?" Barron smiled faintly. "Because I can, and because it's the right thing to do." The next morning, Barron couldn't stop thinking about Jacob and Ethan. He called his personal assistant Clara and asked her to find the best specialists for Ethan's condition. "Also," Barron added, "I want to visit them, privately, no cameras, no press." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure? This could be a great PR moment." Barron shook his head. "This isn't about me, it's about them." Later that week, Barron showed up unannounced at Jacob's modest apartment. Jacob was stunned to see him standing at the door with a box of art supplies for Ethan. "Hi, Ethan," Barron said, crouching down to the boy's level. "I heard you like to draw. Can I see some of your work?" Ethan's face lit up as he ran to fetch his drawings. Watching the interaction, Jacob felt a lump in his throat. For the first time in years, he felt hope. Over the next few weeks, Barron became a regular visitor at Jacob and Ethan's home. He arranged for Ethan to receive top-notch medical care, and even invited him to art workshops with renowned artists. Ethan's health began to improve, and so did his spirit. One day, he handed Barron a drawing of a tall, kind man holding a child's hand under a tree. "That's you," Ethan said with a shy smile. "You're my hero." Barron's eyes misted over as he took the drawing. "Thank you, Ethan. But you're the real hero. You're braver than I'll ever be." Jacob watched from the doorway, overcome with emotion. Barron's kindness wasn't just changing Ethan's life. It was restoring his faith in humanity. Word of Barron's actions began to spread, despite his efforts to keep it private. Families in similar situations reached out, inspired by his humility and generosity. At a follow-up gala, Jacob and Ethan made a surprise appearance. This time Jacob stood on stage holding a microphone. "I came here months ago full of anger," he said, his voice breaking. "I thought no one cared, but Barron proved me wrong. He didn't just help my son, he gave us our lives back." The audience erupted in applause, but Barron, seated in the front row, looked down humbly. This wasn't about recognition. It was about the impact. As Jacob and Ethan left the stage, Barron made a silent vow to continue using his platform for good. Barron couldn't stop thinking about the countless families who needed help, but lacked a voice. Inspired by Jacob and Ethan's story, he decided to take action on a larger scale. He called a meeting with his team. "I want to start a foundation," he said. "Something that can help families like Jacob's, families caught in impossible situations." Clara, always practical, asked, "How do you plan to fund this? Even you have limits." Barron nodded. "We'll start small, but we'll grow. I'll contribute personally, and we'll rally others who want to make a difference." Within weeks, the Beacon of Hope Foundation was born. Its mission, to provide medical care, educational support, and creative opportunities for children facing extraordinary challenges. The first grant went to Ethan, covering his ongoing treatment and art education. Barron's heart swelled as he watched Ethan flourish, knowing this was only the beginning. But not everyone was supportive. Critics questioned his motives, accusing him of using the foundation for publicity. Barron stayed focused. "This isn't about me," he told Clara. "It's about the kids." The foundation quickly gained momentum. Families from all walks of life reached out, sharing their stories and seeking help. Barron insisted on reviewing each application personally, ensuring no one was overlooked. One day, he came across a letter from a mother named Maria. Her daughter, Sophia, was a budding violinist whose talent was unmatched, but a degenerative eye condition threatened to rob her of her sight and her dreams. Barron was deeply moved. He called Maria personally. "We'll help Sophia," he said. "Not just with her medical expenses, but with her music education too." Sophia's story became a beacon of the foundation's impact. Videos of her playing the violin spread across social media, touching millions. Meanwhile, Jacob volunteered to help the foundation, saying, "I owe you my life. Let me give back." Barron welcomed him warmly. "You don't owe me anything, Jacob, but your experience could help others. Let's do this together." As the foundation grew, so did the challenges. One evening, Barron received distressing news. A major donor had pulled out, citing pressure from powerful interests who didn't want Barron's efforts to succeed. Clara was furious. "They're trying to sabotage you." Barron, however, remained calm. "If they think this will stop us, they're wrong. We'll find another way." Determined to keep the foundation afloat, Barron reached out to his network. Slowly, support trickled back in. But the incident left a mark, reminding him that not everyone shared his vision of kindness and compassion. That night, Barron sat alone in his study, reflecting on the journey so far. He thought of Ethan, Sophia, and the countless others who needed his help. "No matter what," he whispered to himself, "I won't give up." Weeks later, an unexpected letter arrived at the foundation's office. It was from Ethan. "Dear Mr. Barron, I heard you're having trouble with the foundation. I want to help. I've been selling my drawings and saved up some money. It's not much, but I want you to have it. You're my hero, and I want to be like you someday. Love, Ethan." Barron's hands trembled as he read the letter. Tears welled up in his eyes. He called Jacob immediately. "Ethan is incredible," Barron said, his voice thick with emotion. "But tell him to keep his savings. His kindness is enough." Jacob laughed softly. "You've inspired him, Barron. He sees the world differently now because of you." Ethan's gesture reignited Barron's determination. The foundation wasn't just about helping others, it was about inspiring a ripple effect of kindness. The foundation hosted its first annual gala, inviting families they had helped to share their stories. Jacob and Ethan were among the special guests, as were Sophia and Maria. As Barron walked through the room, he was humbled by the outpouring of gratitude and joy. He paused to watch Sophia perform a violin piece, her music filling the hall with hope. When the time came for Barron to speak, he stood at the podium, his voice steady but full of emotion. This foundation isn't about one person or one act of kindness. It's about all of us coming together to make the world a little brighter. Thank you for believing in this mission." The crowd erupted in applause, but Barron's focus remained on the children in the room. He knew their stories were the real stars of the evening. As the gala ended, Jacob pulled Barron aside. "You've changed so many lives, Barron, but do you realize how much you've changed mine?" Barron smiled. "It's not about changing lives, Jacob. It's about showing people what's possible." As the foundation flourished, Barron noticed something remarkable happening. Families who had once been helped were now helping others. Jacob became a mentor for new families, guiding them through the foundation's process. "I never thought I'd be in a position to help anyone," Jacob admitted to Barron one day. "You gave me back more than my son's health. You gave me purpose." Barron was moved. "Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest waves," he said. Meanwhile, Sophia began volunteering to teach violin to children who couldn't afford lessons. Watching her thrive, Barron felt a deep sense of fulfillment. But he also knew there were still so many children who needed help. One evening, Ethan surprised Barron with a painting. It was a scene of children playing under a tree, their faces full of joy. "This is how I feel now," Ethan said. Barron hung the painting in his office, where it became a daily reminder of why he started the foundation. It wasn't just about giving, it was about inspiring others to give too. As Barron's foundation grew, so did his visibility. Invitations to speak at events poured in, but Barron was selective. He preferred personal connections over grand gestures. One day, Clara showed him an email from a small community center. "They want you to visit and talk to their kids," she said. Barron's eyes lit up. "Let's do it." At the center, Barron met children from underserved neighborhoods. He shared stories about Ethan and Sophia, emphasizing the importance of kindness and perseverance. "Kindness isn't just about big gestures," Barron told them. "It's about the little things, helping a friend, standing up for someone, or even just listening." One boy raised his hand. "But what if people are mean to you?" Barron smiled gently. "You can't control how others act, but you can control how you respond. Choose kindness. It's the strongest thing you can do." The children's applause was heartfelt, and Barron left feeling energized. He knew these moments were shaping a generation of compassionate leaders. Not everyone was inspired by Barron's actions. Some powerful individuals viewed his foundation as a threat to their influence. One morning, Clara rushed into Barron's office. "We've been hit with a lawsuit," she said, her voice tight. "They're claiming the foundation misuses funds." Barron's stomach sank. "Is there any truth to it?" "None," Clara said firmly. "But they're hoping to tarnish your reputation." Barron's legal team advised him to settle, but he refused. "If we back down, we're letting them win. We'll fight this, and we'll prove them wrong." The lawsuit dragged on for months, but Barron's determination never wavered. Jacob stood by him, speaking at public forums about the foundation's impact. "I'm living proof of what Barron's work means," he declared. When the court finally ruled in Barron's favor, it wasn't just a victory for the foundation. It was a victory for everyone who believed in its mission. One day, Barron received a handwritten letter from a woman named Claire. "I don't know if you remember me," she wrote, "but years ago you helped my son Ethan. He's now a thriving artist, thanks to you." Barron was stunned. Ethan, now a teenager, had become a rising star in the art world. Claire invited Barron to attend Ethan's first gallery exhibit. At the event, Barron was greeted with a warm hug from Ethan. "You changed my life," Ethan said. "Every stroke of my brush is because you believed in me." As Barron admired Ethan's work, he felt an overwhelming sense of pride. It wasn't just about what Ethan had achieved. It was about the ripple effect of kindness. Ethan's exhibit raised funds for the foundation, proving that kindness truly came full circle. The foundation's annual gala arrived, and this year was special. The theme was Kindness in Action, and the event showcased stories of lives transformed through the foundation. Barron gave his speech with a lump in his throat. "This isn't my foundation," he said. "It's ours. Every act of kindness you've shown has made this possible." To everyone's surprise, Ethan and Sophia took the stage together. Ethan presented Barron with a painting, and Sophia played a heartfelt violin piece. "Thank you for believing in us," Sophia said. "Because of you, we know anything is possible." The audience was in tears, and Barron felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew this was only the beginning. As the gala's applause faded, Barron stepped off the stage, humbled by the overwhelming support. But his mind was already racing with ideas for the future. He called a meeting the next morning. "We need to reach more families," he said. "Let's partner with schools, hospitals, and community centers to identify children who need help." The team sprang into action, launching campaigns to raise awareness about the foundation. Jacob, now a full-time advocate, traveled across the country sharing his story. Meanwhile, Ethan and Sophia became youth ambassadors for the foundation. They visited schools, inspiring children with their journeys and encouraging them to dream big. The foundation's impact grew exponentially. Families from all over the world began reaching out, and Barron's team worked tirelessly to meet the demand. Despite the challenges, Barron remained focused. "This isn't about numbers," he told Clara one day. "It's about each life we touch. If we can make one person's life better, it's all worth it." One evening, Barron found an envelope on his desk. It was addressed to him in the child's handwriting. Curious, he opened it and began to read. "Dear Mr. Barron, my name is Lily. I'm 8 years old, and my mommy says I'm very sick. She cries a lot because we don't have enough money to go to the doctor. She showed me a video of you helping other kids, so I thought maybe you could help me too. I just want my mommy to stop crying. Love, Lily." Barron's heart broke as he read the letter. He immediately asked Clara to find Lily and her family. Within days, they were on a flight to meet her. Lily's wide eyes lit up when Barron walked through the door. "You're real," she exclaimed. Barron knelt beside her. "And so are you, Lily. We're going to help you, I promise." Lily's condition was serious, but Barron spared no expense to ensure she received the best medical care. He also provided emotional support for her mother, who had been carrying the burden alone. Months later, Lily's health improved, and her laughter returned. She became a symbol of hope for the foundation, reminding everyone why they fought so hard. At a press conference, Lily's mother tearfully thanked Barron. "You didn't just save my daughter's life," she said. "You saved mine too." Barron hugged her gently. "Your strength saved her. I just gave you the tools." The story of Lily's recovery touched millions, inspiring belief, donations, and support for the foundation. Barron knew that could now help people help. Despite the foundation's success, Barron faced his share of doubts. Late one night, he confided in Jacob. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough," Barron admitted. Jacob placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done more than anyone else could. You've given hope to people who had none. That's more than enough." The next day, Barron visited Ethan's studio. Ethan was working on a mural for a local hospital, depicting children playing under a bright sun. "This is amazing," Barron said, admiring the vibrant colors. Ethan smiled. "I'm just passing on what you taught me. Kindness changes everything." Barron left the studio feeling reinvigorated. He realized that even small acts of kindness created ripples far beyond what he could see. Years later, the Beacon of Hope Foundation had grown into a global movement. Thousands of children and families had been helped, and countless lives transformed. At a special event commemorating the foundation's 10th anniversary, Barron stood on stage surrounded by Jacob, Ethan, Sophia, and Lily. "This isn't my story," Barron said, his voice filled with emotion. "It's theirs. It's yours. It's all of ours. Kindness isn't about one person. It's about all of us working together to make the world better." The audience rose to their feet, applauding and cheering. Barron looked out at the crowd, his heart full. He had started with a simple act of kindness, and now it had become a legacy. As the event ended, Barron walked over to Ethan. "What's next for you?" Ethan grinned. "Changing the world, just like you taught me." Barron smiled, knowing the future was in good hands. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Spread kindness in your own way. It can change lives more than you know. If you loved this journey of compassion and hope,